Book Dragons, I'm back for another day of BookMass. We are actually on day 13. So today I'm going to tell you guys the sequels that I have my eyes on for 2023. And again, I know this is not an exhaustive list, but these are just the sequels that like have piqued my interest. I've either read book one and I'm very intrigued, or the concept sounds really interesting and I just want to keep it on my radar, maybe to read book one before book two comes out. The first one is not going to be a shock. It's Chain of Thorns by Cassie Clare. I've been waiting for this book for about a year. The publication got pushed, so I'm waiting for it. I really do like the series. It follows Tessa's kids, so like the Infernal Devices kids, and I'm really liking it. It's just like a great read. It's very, very angsty, very, very complicated. It gives me Regency romance vibes. I'm here for it. That's the first one. We'll admire this stunning cover. It comes out in January, and yeah, so not a whole lot to say about that, but I know people are excited about that, and so am I. So we got that one done. Here's a pretty book. The next book is more of a companion book, but it's Manslaughter Park, which is part of the Pride and Prejudice mystery series. And this one is like a murder mystery take on Mansfield Park. I really liked her other two. I think her Sense and Sensibility one was very, very underrated. So I really enjoyed that one and hope that this one gets a little bit more hype. It doesn't have a summary. I think it's coming out in June. But that may change, but it's just the covers are pretty and it gives me my Regency romance vibes with a dash of mystery, which is exactly how I like them. So that is why that one is on this list. And I highly recommend you check out that series if you haven't done it, because they're very, very fun and they're very, very quick reads. This is a book that I'm a little bit torn about. I read Bone Spindle early last year and it didn't wow me, but I always say I give first books in a series a lot of weight because it's hard to build a world. So this is the second book. It's called The Severed Thread. And it was like a Sleeping Beauty story on its head with a LGBTQ+. They had to save the prince. And there was a bookish treasure hunter. The concept, the blurb was like so much up my alley, and then the execution just failed a little bit. But I do want to give this author a second chance. Her second book is coming out in February, so I'm going to hopefully give this one a shot. I did request an e-arc. We'll see if I get it. But I am intrigued to keep going with the series and see how I feel about book two. Book one did let me down a little bit, but I'm always for giving an author a second chance, especially if it is their debut. Hi friends, I'm back. I had to take the puppy for a walk, so it will be a little bit of a two-part video. But I did want to say that we are going to chat about the second Castle in Our Bones book by Laura Sebastian. I haven't read book one, but when I was reading the summary of book one, it reminded me a lot of Three Dark Crowns, which is one of my favorite YA fantasy series that I've read in recent years by Kendare Blake. Very excited for that one, like super excited. I want to read Castle in Our Bones before the end of 2022 and then read the sequel in 2023. I was approved for an e-arc. I obviously can't read the summary, but it's about three twins or three sisters, and they have divergent missions to try to get a political marriage. So that sounds really interesting. I think it comes out in February, so it's an earlier release, which means I better get a move on for my reading, but very excited for that one as well. And here's a pretty cover of the sequel. I have to admit, I do like the cover of book one a little bit more. That's okay though, but still a very, very pretty cover. And then the next book we're going to chat about is the sequel to This Vicious Grace by Emily Thiede. I read this right when I was going to Aruba, I think. I brought this book to Aruba with me, and I really loved it. I thought it was like a very, very unique kind of like this girl. She kept marrying suitors because she kept killing them with her magic. And then at the end, she finds an unexpected connection with a contestant to be her marriage. And it was very, very good, very, very, very political heavy. I enjoyed it. I'm excited for book two. We'll definitely be checking it out. And that book comes out, it's called This Cursed Light, and it comes out in August. So I might have to do a reread before then, but other than that, I really enjoyed it and thought it was a unique YA fantasy premise with a lot of intrigue. If you like Laura Sebastian's her first series, the Ash Princess series, I think you would also like this series quite a bit as well. But here is a cover for this one. This cover is also very, very pretty as well and is very reminiscent of This Vicious Grace. So keep that in mind. I'm gonna talk about two books that I'm pretty sure are coming out in 2023. We just don't have like titles and or dates, and that is the second Forging Into Fire and Stars by Bridget Kimmerer. That second book is coming out, and also Once Upon a Broken Heart book 3 is also supposed to come out. So I'm definitely going to want to get copies of those books. I have really enjoyed the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I like Bridget Kimmerer's worlds, so I'm sure I will like that series as well. So that is why those two books are on this list. There is no cover, there is not even a date. I just wanted to mention it because it's going to go on my reading list for 2023, and I wanted to share it here. If you have not read these series, I highly recommend. I have read the first Stephanie Garber book in that series, and I really enjoyed it. So let's get on to the rest of the list. The next book I'm going to talk about is the sequel to the Agathas, This Night in Question, and this book comes out in August, and that is like the Agathas, like an Agatha Christie retelling, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was a fun read. It dealt with like harder topics. It gave me Veronica Mars vibes as well, which I really liked. So I'm excited to read the second one, and hopefully it's just as good. I read another book, it was by Alexa Don, called Pretty Dead Queens, which I loved. I would love for that to get a sequel. That has not been announced yet, but if you read the Agathas and want something very similar, I would pick that one up. I actually prefer that one a little bit more, and that's probably going to be on one of my surprising lists for 2022. But yeah, definitely this one I'll be checking out when it comes out in August for sure. And here is a pretty cover. Another sequel I'm super excited about is the sequel to Belladonna, Foxglove by Adeline Grace. This book is supposed to come out in August, and I loved Belladonna. I thought it was a great atmospheric fall read that had a nice balance of vibes and romance. I enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to read book 2. I also liked her previous book that she's written, so this is a no-brainer for me, and I'm really excited to go back into this world for spooky season. And here is this pretty cover. I think I liked book 1's cover a little bit more, but it's still very, very pretty. Another book that I am caught up on is the Kendra Blake Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. So it's called One Girl in All the World, and this follows Willow Rosenberg's daughter when she becomes the Slayer. I really liked book 1. Book 2 was like super short. I got this at ALA. I don't know where my ARC is, or I would show it to you. It's somewhere in my room, but I'm really excited for this one. I thought book 1 was probably one of the better Buffy spin-off novels that I've read, and I really enjoyed it. I would love for this to become a TV show one day because I love those characters quite a bit. I thought it had a nice balance of homage to characters that we love and know, but also giving us a new story, which is so exciting. And then another book series, and here is the cover for this one. It should be out in January, I think. And then the next one is one that I haven't necessarily read yet, but it's Echoes and Empires by Morgan Rhodes. The sequel is Legends and Liars. This comes out in June, so I have a little bit of time before I have to read this one. But I did want to read Echoes and Empires, and I just ran out of time. So that is why it is on this list. Let's take a picture of the cover. It's right here, or it should be. And my battery's gonna die, so I'm gonna talk about the last 2 books very, very quickly. I'm really excited for Sarah Bowaton's Guide to Witchcraft and Wizardry, which comes out for Rick Riordan Presents in late 2023, probably around Halloween. So here is a photo for that. I really liked book 1. I thought it was great. And I'm also gonna talk about the third Finley Donovan book, Under the Gun. And that is another cozy mystery series that I have been enjoying. I'm excited to see where book 3 goes, and I do have an e-arc. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching tomorrow for BookMass, and I'll talk to you guys for another video. Let me know in the comments what are some sequels you're super excited for. I'm sure I've missed some, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.